Welcome to Marketing Brew Weekly, where we dissect the trends and strategies that are surprising and delighting the marketing industry. I'm Jenny Wynn, reporter at Marketing Brew.
I'm Kelsey Sutton, editor.
And I'm Katie Hicks, senior reporter.
Today, we are getting musical with it, or at least the brands are, because they have been making their very own branded music videos. What exactly has inspired this latest surge, and is it actually effective? We've got thoughts.
So before we get into it, I want to mention something very briefly up top, which is that Marketing Brew Weekly has been nominated for a Webby Award. We literally screamed in the office when we saw. If you have been thoroughly surprised and delighted by our episodes each week, we are so happy to hear it. And you can cast a vote for us through the link that you can find in the show notes.
Yay. We're so excited about it.
Yes.
We're going to continue to be annoying about it until the voting deadline has passed. So
Absolutely.
hopefully you actually will cast a vote.
I'm
for
sending
us.
it in all the group chats every single day.
Right.
Vote.
Right. My friends are sick of it, but our listeners are our friends too, so they have to be sick of it as well.
So let's talk about facing the music. Jenna, what are your thoughts?
You know, I love a good music video. I used to sit down at my computer and just go on YouTube and be like, what's my lineup of music videos that I'm going to watch today? So seeing brands kind of produce them is kind of exciting to me. Are you guys seeing this? Are you loving it? Are you hating it? What do you guys think?
I think it's fun. And I feel like people are really entertained by it, which I feel like is the whole goal. Mm-hmm. People are recreating the Gap ads, which we've talked about before, and doing the dances and all that stuff. People are really, I think, liking branded music videos because it doesn't feel inherently branded.
Yeah.
We had such a cultural sort of vacuum when MTV went away. R.I.P. Pour one out. And I feel like this is helping to fill the role of that. Mm-hmm. And I think the thing that's so interesting is, in some cases, the use of choreography that translates so well to social. If you make a music video and people are dancing, you know what people can do? They can take a little segment of that and they can make their own on TikTok and upload it. And that just helps with the brand messaging, the music, the whole shebang.
It's a whole thing. All of it is a huge trend. The music video of it, the dance of it, everything is a big trend these days. But you know what? Bigger is usually better. You know, like when the person behind the counter goes extra heavy on the protein for your burrito bowl.
The same goes for your ads. The bigger the audience, the better.
1 out of every 5 streaming minutes viewed is driven by Paramount Skydance content. And with Paramount Ads Manager, your brand can get in front of their audience while they are glued to some of the biggest shows on TV right now.
From major sports to hit shows like Survivor and Landman, Paramount has their viewers at the edge of their couch. No matter what your audience likes, you can reach them with Paramount Ads Manager.
They even have smart targeting tools and measurement solutions, and their team can produce your next TV ad for you at no additional cost.
Go big and actually be seen with Paramount Ads Manager at ParamountAdsManager.com. That's ParamountAdsManager.com.
All right, so why are we talking about music videos today? So we've seen, obviously, the Gap videos. We've talked about this before. They had the videos with Katseye, Troye Sivan, Tyla was the first big one that went viral a couple years ago. But we're also seeing other brands get in on this. Have you guys seen the Cheetos ad with Megan Thee Stallion and Nickleback?
Yes, we could not stop talking about this. Megan Thee Stallion and Nickleback. It's sort of a joke on pickleback as a flavor.
Because it's a flaming hot Cheetos pickle edition, which we could do a whole episode about the pickle trend as a topic, but we'll save that for another day.
Yeah, put a pin in that one.
Yeah. But I enjoyed that music video personally. I thought it was so silly and genuinely kind of original, which is funny because it is a remake of, what is the Nickelback song that they do? A big one, a really big Nickelback song.
Is it This Is How You Remind Me?
Yes,
that
is it.
That's not the name of the song.
I was it's not Photograph.
Yeah, I'm terrible with song names, which was a blunder on my part. But everyone knows that song, but then you bring in Meg Thee Stallion, so it's kind of fresh. And I was like, oh, this isn't something I have seen, which it was genuinely entertaining to me, which I feel like is a big part of the music video trend as a whole, as we have discussed the entertainment studioification of marketing. In general, I feel like making something that someone is like, oh, I had a good time watching that is a win. And I can say that I had a good time watching it.
I mean, it was a 4-minute video. It felt like a extended cut of a Super Bowl ad. It was very high, action packed, a lot of stuff
a Marvel movie
at
the end. There's a a car or a truck chase,
Yeah.
and there's Cheetos packages flying everywhere. It's wild. It's a wild ride.
Yeah. I think the specific approach that they took with this video is interesting to me because it's kind of nostalgic, but like using it to introduce a new product. And I feel like we've talked about like nostalgia, which was a big thing at the Super Bowl and continues to be a big thing. And like Nickleback as a band, I feel like is pretty nostalgic and it's like pretty millennial focused, but like Meg Thee Stallion is like a pretty current artist. So bringing those two together. But I think overall, the concept of the music video also feels nostalgic to me. Like I say, like I like sat down on my computer and like watched them. I don't do that now. So like when I get the chance to do it now, I do kind of get that feeling of like, oh, like back in the olden days. So I think it's an interesting, like pretty distinct strategy of like making an actual product, a music video, but it feels nostalgic at the same time, which continues to be such a big trend.
That's like what drove Gap to start doing this again is because they had these like music videos in the 90s. Yes. So it really was a nostalgia play for them to bring it back, like the same strategy, but then be like, what like current artists can we tap for this? Like Troye Sivan, like Katseye.
Which we love the Katseye.
And I want to talk about Gap in particular because I think the thing that makes their strategy so interesting is that they take it very seriously. It's fun. You have a great time watching it, but like it is not like a joke. Like the Cheetos example, like that's like supposed to be very silly all around. And I think that that is better suited for that brand. But I think that in the case of Gap, like it's very much about the craft. You can watch it and be sort of hypnotized. I watched that jungle music video. Like we watched like these Troye Sivan. You see that like, I feel like there's this kind of cultural in like just renaissance maybe of these sort of like highly choreographed, really fun sort of things. And I think for a brand like Gap, it's a way to elevate basics, like affordable basics. They recently did something with Young Miko, who is a Puerto Rican rapper, and her entire music video, everybody's wearing Gap sweats. And I just walked past the Gap store on the way to the office, and they have a big photo of her, you know, poster of her right in the front of the store. So it's very much, you know, kind of embracing the cultural cachet you get from working with an artist, either directly or licensing music that we know has cultural cachet and then making it really fun and fresh and sort of instantly replayable. You want to watch it over and over.
Yeah. I think the taking it seriously element is so interesting because it's kind of like, I feel like we are increasingly in an era where people appreciate things like craft and making a big production and making something look good. And I do think that the difference between the Cheetos ad and something like Gap's approach is pretty apparent. And it's interesting because like the reaction I think can be pretty different too. It's like you can have people who are like, LOL, this is so funny, or like, LOL, I love Katseye, like so cool that they got them. But then there are going to be people who are like, wow, that choreography was actually awesome. Like the way that they like showed it off, the way that it was filmed was really, really cool. And I do think that that is a thread that connects Gap's approach in particular that also I think creates a cultural cachet, right? Like they are tapping into the cultural cachet of whatever artist they're working with, which is a classic benefit of working with a big star, obviously. But I think when you do something well, you also then get the benefit of an audience recognizing that and being like, oh, Gap gets it. Like Gap also wants to make something that is worth watching, especially in the age of AI and blah, blah, blah.
I was going to, if you weren't going to mention it, I was going to mention it. It's like proof of the work that went into it. You had to have a choreographer, you had to have dancers, you had to involve this. Katie, I know you recently talked with Hollister, and they did a little different approach. They actually worked with an artist to make a very fun music video. It like made me nostalgic for high school, but I want to hear your thoughts on that.
It was a cover of the Green Day song. Is it Time of Your Life? I know there's like a full long title to it, but it was the Green Day song they play at every graduation ceremony. Gigi Perez, who's like a Gen Z artist. I first heard her on TikTok, so I think she kind of like blew up on that platform, but she did a cover of this Green Day song. They tapped a bunch of high schoolers to be part of this music video. Everybody's wearing Hollister in the video. I mean, I think like that's another thing that's like a through line between all these is like it's basically an ad. You're watching an ad when you're watching these things. Like you're seeing all the Hollister clothes in this video. You're seeing the dancers in the Gap videos show that you can, you know, like I think one of the titles of one of their videos was called Linen Moves. It's a proof point that the clothes that they produce can be danceable and like you can wear them and they're high quality. And like the Cheetos video, they had like the Cheetos pickle bags coming out of the truck in like that very Marvel-like scene. So like you
If
are
you
getting
eat the
advertised
pickle things,
to.
you will go crazy.
Yeah. You get superpowers. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, these are all ads, but like they're done in a way that feels, I think, just more organic. And like that was one thing that when I talked to Hollister, they mentioned was like everybody got to pick their own like outfits from the Hollister cachet and decide what they wanted to wear based on their personal style, and including Gigi Gigi Perez. Sorry,
I know. I really have to think about that.
I'm so used to saying one specific Gigi.
Yeah.
There are
Another
more than one
Gigi
famous Gigis.
has entered the chat. Yes. No, but I think it's interesting that, of course, it's an ad, and of course they're wearing the Hollister products in this case, because it's not exactly the first time that like this kind of music video as ad has happened, but I do think it has shifted in the modern era to brands creating them themselves and having full control over it, whereas in the 2000s, early 2000s, when honestly music videos were a bigger cultural force than I think they are now, it was more about brands integrating themselves into existing videos of really big artists. And I think that still happens now, but the approach of like owning the entire production gives you so much more control, obviously, as a brand, and you can be overt with it or you can be pretty subtle with it, which between the two examples we've been talking about a lot with Cheetos is it's everywhere and it's silly and it's meant to be over the top. But I actually think the Hollister one is like kind of subtle. Like it tells you at the top that it's brought to you by Hollister, but like unless you knew it was Hollister clothes, it's not like they're shoving the logo in your face and making you super aware that it's a Hollister ad, which is actually quite funny because in middle school when I was wearing Hollister, the logo was everywhere. Yeah.
Big old bird.
Yes.
Something about Laguna Beach.
Like you wanted that on the front of every shirt you own. I think it's such an interesting point, though, to talk about this subtlety, because I think consumers, particularly young consumers that a lot of these brands are targeting, we know how savvy they are. We know how they are ad averse when they sense that it's not genuine or that it's about to be a waste of their time. And I think that having something be really subtle, there's a real power to that because people will see it. I mean, okay, Hollister, it's going to be for high schoolers, college students. So picking a graduation tied, nostalgic, remember this thing, but then just kind of highlighting how different people wear Hollister clothes is a great way for somebody to go, wow, this really made me feel amazing. And I also kind of like that shirt that person was wearing, like, and it might not be immediate, right? Like it's not trackable. It's not necessarily you're going to immediately click through and purchase, but it just kind of like gets in your bones in a way that I think is particularly compelling for younger consumers who really have the nose for authenticity.
Yeah, I do think that's interesting too, to like look at these two examples a little bit more. Hollister is obviously like targeting a younger demographic, especially with a graduation themed campaign. Like that is a clear audience, but I think something like Flaming Hot Cheetos like is a much more general brand. And Katie and I were kind of like guessing before we started the episode of like, oh, like does partnering with a Nickleback mean that they're targeting millennials, or is it a pretty general audience still? What do you guys think? Like, do you think the music video approach overall is a pretty young leaning approach, or is it more applicable to more audiences than we might think?
Ooh, I love this question. I feel like the older everybody gets, the more general it becomes. There are people who grew up watching music videos on linear television. Gasp. What's that? And so because and now you're training a younger audience, and this doesn't have to be necessarily just brands, but certain artists, you know, Jeremiah, you were talking about, you used to sit down in front of your computer and like watch music videos, and certain artists are still making music videos today, or you might see clips of them on social media, right? So I think that there's generations at like the MTV generation down, it's really relevant. And then I think for an older audience that maybe is not like super plugged into music videos, that doesn't feel like part of their maybe cultural DNA, they still can appreciate a good time and something that's entertaining, or in some cases like hypnotic to watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to that point about like a lot of this stuff is nostalgia. Like I think some of these like older consumers would remember the original Gap dance videos and then see the new ones go, oh, I remember that. And like it's fun to see how it's like evolved since then. So I think it really is like a universal strategy that appeals to a lot of different ages.
Yeah, I think especially depending on like who you partner with, like if you go with an older band or older artists, and then especially if you pair them with a newer one, you're really getting both ends of it. But yeah, everyone can enjoy good entertainment at the end of the day. So it's really about like where you put it out, which is, I'm also kind of curious about that. Like, where have you guys been seeing it? I don't know if you talked to Hollister about it. Like, what are the platforms that make sense for a music video these days? Because right, it's not MTV anymore. Is it YouTube? Are people sitting down to watch a music video? Where do people watch it?
Definitely YouTube. And then I think TikTok. I mean, the platform that began as a dance platform is actually a place that people still want to see dances. And I think we've seen that, especially with the Gap videos.
Yeah.
Hollister, I feel like the strategy there is to like more so get this song like used in the background of UGC videos that have to do with graduation, as opposed to like, because there's not really a dance component to that video.
Right.
But it's still, they've produced something that has like this, long lead time, I guess. I think that's a huge part of this too, is just like when you create something like this, there's not really like a thing that like ties it to one particular time. Like you can go back and rewatch this and still enjoy it. Or like next year's graduation, they might play the same song. And it's like, there is a universality to this, and also just kind of like a timelessness aspect of it too.
Yeah. Do you think audiences like having kind of these pieces fed to them from brands? Like, do you think it's fun for a young Gen Zer to come across the graduation cover by Gigi Perez and be like, oh, I actually really love Gigi Perez? Or is there kind of like a double take moment where it's like, well, this is not Gigi Perez doing it organically. It's Gigi Perez doing it because of Hollister.
This reminds me of the eyes, lips, face elf sound on TikTok. Do you remember? This was like a long time ago.
Yeah.
I feel like people found out that was elf kind of created, and it ended up not really mattering because it was still kind of resonant enough and fun enough that people can do it. I think it's just another way for a brand to just be a little bit closer in the back of somebody's mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you make a bop at the end of the day, then I think people will like it, even if it is from a brand.
Yeah.
I ask because I kind of think about like the dance element too. It's like if you are optimizing from the very beginning, right? And you know that people on TikTok do like to recreate dances. Do you choreograph a dance that like could be easily recreated by non-dancers and everyday people on the app? Or are you risking that it'll flop and people are like, oh, they obviously tried to incorporate a TikTok dance into this, and then you kind of have that bad sentiment when you were hoping for virality in the first place?
I kind of lean towards the latter. I'm thinking of like, what was the Taylor Swift song? Was it The Fate of Ophelia, where they tried to create a dance and it felt very much like it was created for TikTok, and people clocked that pretty quickly. I think you have to I think what makes some of the dancing videos specifically appealing to people is that they are tapping like tried and true dancers, like real dance troupes or real professionals like Katseye, like people who do this for a living and do really impressive moves and like are therefore like more fun to watch. I think if you do something that's like too simple, it looks like a marketing play.
Yeah, I think that's such a good, again, the consumer is so good at clocking something that feels like a trap or a trick. And I think that kind of going big or going home, it feels like sort of the method. But I do think it's interesting, and I want to mention like, we're talking about these different brands, but they've all kind of approached it differently. It's like a sound that's a music video, like or music that's a music video in the case of Hollister, right? Like working with an artist to make something that's like a great cover that is easily, then they have a accompanying music video, but also it can be shared just as an audio versus licensing a song and then getting people to dance to it in the case of Gap and Katseye, or working with artists directly, either on parodies or having them directly in itself. So it feels like there's kind of many different avenues in, and I think that leaves brands with a lot of options. You can say, do we really want something that's audio? Does that feel like the best way in? And we can build a music video that works for that, or we really want to own the visual element of the dancing and the choreography, or, let's just like write a song and like have that, or work with somebody. I feel like there's just a lot of ways in for a brand if they're willing to take it seriously and like kind of be committed to making a really entertaining quality product at the end of the day.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of things can go right, but potentially a lot of things can go wrong too. What do you guys think are some of the risks involved here? I feel like the big one that comes to mind is like, if you just pick the wrong artist that's like not of the moment or not nostalgic enough, you're still going to spend a ton of money on that. And it's like, oh, like you're producing this whole thing. And depending on the level that you have like invested into like becoming your own entertainment studio, like maybe it's like your first big venture and then it doesn't go off, which is inherently a risk with like any time you partner with a celebrity. But I feel like just a music video feels like such a production, and people can either really love it or really hate it, and it would just be a bummer for people to really hate it. But yeah, that's the one that comes to mind for me. Do you guys think there are any other big risks here?
I think if it comes across as like overly branded, that's going to turn people off. I think the Gap ads, I think the Hollister ad, I think they come across better because it's not like, again, here's the Hollister logo, here's the Gap logo. You're just watching people dance or sing or be at a high school in the clothes that they're advertising, but they're not like putting it in your face. Like, and they're not inserting the brand name into the song at any point or reminding you that like this is an ad.
Yeah. Oh my God. Could you imagine if you were listening to that and they were like, and Hollister says it's the best day of your life, brought to you by Hollister. Like, not a fun experience.
No, that wouldn't land well.
Yeah, I think that's always the risk here is you spend a bunch of money making something and everyone's like obsessed with it and they forget what the brand is.
Yeah.
But I think that that's like preferable to the alternative, which is everybody smells the branding all over it and runs as fast as they can in the other direction or goes, this is really cringe. I mean, brands have to be cringe. If you're in brand marketing, like you just gotta own it. But I think there are ways to do it that feel more elegant. And I think that elegance is really kind of required here.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too, that like it would be preferable to not like get your brand message across, because I think ultimately when I talked to Gap about their strategy and Hollister, they both just mentioned that they wanted to be part of the culture. And I think so long as their videos are relevant and they're getting a lot of views and people are talking about them, that's the most important thing. Not that like one particular product was advertised.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like a piece of like being a part of the culture too that I think is maybe an intended but feels like an unintended result of all of this is that I do feel like brands getting like in on music videos and like these higher production campaigns are kind of like reviving the music video a little bit, you know? It's kind of nice that like, oh, we have some new music video options to peruse through, because I do feel like there is less of a cultural demand for music videos just like coming straight from artists these days. So giving them the opportunity to make a silly one or make a serious one. Like Gigi Perez is an up and coming artist, so it's cool that she has like the backing of a brand to like do a cover that will reach more people because of it. And I think just like it's nice that like societally we get to get a couple new things to enjoy. Wow, not me patting the brands on the back for just giving me a little video, but I did like it.
I mean, but I think that's such a good point. Like brands are really kind of increasingly almost changing structurally to be entertainment studios. You know, we're talking about this all the time across different brands. And I think that this is like one piece of output from a structure that kind of prioritizes entertainment, but we're seeing this in so many different avenues. And I really wonder if this is going to be kind of one element of this kind of growing repertoire from brands. They're doing music videos, they're doing short films, or, you know, they're doing micro dramas on social, they're doing little reality things, like they're doing podcasts. There's so many different ways that a brand can kind of be involved. But again, it's like how branded is that branded content and how effective is it when it's really subtle?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you just listed so many different like media and entertainment ways that brands can get involved, and the only one missing, a Broadway show. Get a brand on a branded Broadway
I want to
show.
see Crocs the musical.
Yeah, where's that?
Febreze on Broadway. Bring it to us. The
I
people
would watch
demand
it. Yeah, I would love to see that. I'd like to see how they make it actually personally first, and then we'll see how it actually looks on stage. But other things that I would like to see, what artists are you guys thinking like haven't been part of the branded music video moment yet that you would like to see them create something?
I feel like there are artists that have brands that could really take advantage of this. So I'm going to list off a couple that maybe I'm like, maybe they already have.
Yeah.
If so, my bad. Rihanna, she has Fenty Beauty.
Easy.
They're so easy. Selena Gomez and Rare Beauty.
Yep.
Right? I'm like,
Ariana Grande and Rem Beauty.
Yeah,
All of the beauties.
A lot of beauty.
Yeah.
But I'm like, that it feels so natural, right? Like, but again, it's like, how do you do it in a way that feels fun and normal?
Right.
But
Totally.
I'm like, that feels like a slam dunk.
Yeah. Easy.
Actually, I was also thinking like the beauty category, but I will say I'm just like happy that we've evolved past. Like, do you remember when music videos came out like 10 to 15 years ago and everybody was holding like a Beats pill? Like very in your face advertising. Like it was like, look at the beat. Or like, I think in Miley Cyrus's We Can't Stop video, she's like applying EOS balm and it's like some of that stuff just felt, I think that made it feel more like a commercial than what we're seeing right now with like dance videos and stuff. So,
Although, remember the 2007 hit Forever by Chris Brown when he sings double your pleasure, double your fun?
Which is
Wrigley's double mint gum.
literally
That was
so
an ad.
crazy.
That was an ad, you guys.
I genuinely think that is the most bonkers fact that I could have possibly learned for this episode. I never knew that, to be fair.
no, I just thought it was a weird lyric.
Yeah, I was like, sure, we're doubling our pleasure.
Yeah,
Why
sure.
not?
But the thing is, that's why it's so, in my opinion, genius, because you are singing that and you are like, well, maybe that's just because Wrigley's double mint gum is so culturally kind of in perpetuity that it would make sense for that to be in a song lyric.
Yeah.
But
Wait,
it's
What
like,
other lyrics are sponsored?
I know, I really
Now
need to do a deep dive. Katie and I putting our heads down at our desks after this to find other song lyric ads. Sorry, Kelsey, we're not doing our jobs the rest of the day.
No, I'm ready for
Yeah, this is
I'm
important
ready.
research, actually. Well, that's what we're doing the rest of the day. But if you have other thoughts, you can send us an email about music videos or anything else at mkbw@morningbrew.com. I also want to give a quick shout out to the fact that we have a creator event coming up in May, which you can join us in person for in New York City or online. All of that info is in the show notes, and we will catch you next week.